So Charles Oliveira manages to beat Dustin Poirier in the third round via rear naked choke submission. This was a very exciting fight. From the beginning, the first round, I think I gave it to Dustin Poirier. The second round, Charles Oliveira managed to get into full guard against Dustin Poirier and started landing elbows on his head. And then the third round onwards, I mean, it was complete destruction. Obviously, he managed to get him into that rear naked choke, and Dustin Poirier just could not get out of it, and then he tapped. Before the fight, I always had this inclination, I had this feeling that Charles Oliveira was going to win, and I couldn't explain why I felt that way. I just instinctively felt that he was going to win. My intuition was correct on this occasion. Somehow he did manage to get the win, but I felt like the first round, I actually gave that round to Dustin Poirier. I felt like he landed the more significant strikes, and it looked like he was just picking apart Charles Oliveira from the beginning. But Charles Oliveira didn't try to fight him on the outside. He just kept going forward and pressuring him. Eventually, he started to break through his guard and managed to get close enough to actually grapple with him. And when that actually happened, it looked like the momentum of the fight changed. And then on from the second round onwards, I think he got him into full guard. When he got him into full guard and he just started raining down elbows on him, I was like, you know what, this is where I think the fight is going to change. The thing about Charles Oliveira is the first round is when he's most vulnerable, and that's when if someone's going to fight him, that's when you're most likely to catch him. Because even if you look at the fight against Michael Chandler, at the end of the first round, Michael Chandler was just raining down shots on him. And if you just look at the fight from that perspective onwards, it looks like, you know what, there's no way this Charles Oliveira guy is going to win, man. The second round, and Michael Chandler's going to put it on him and probably beat him, man. I felt the same way about the first round with this Dustin Poirier fight. But the thing about Charles Oliveira is, after the first round onwards, I think he figures out his opponents, he makes an adjustment, and then from then on, his opponent seldom very likely ever catches up with him. When he makes that adjustment and he decides to break through your guard and get through your defense and manage to grab you and grab a hold of you, and if you put your back against Charles Oliveira, 9 times out of 10 you're probably going to get stopped, because once he's got your neck, there's almost no way out. There's only one fighter that's actually managed to get out, and that's actually Michael Chandler. In the first fight, he actually had his back towards Charles Oliveira, and Charles Oliveira managed to get a choke him, but somehow Michael Chandler managed to get back out of it. I think he's a very underrated wrestler, but apart from that, it's more than likely that you are probably going to get stopped or submitted. I mean, he's got the most submissions in UFC history for a reason. So yeah, I always had this feeling that I thought Charles Oliveira was going to win, and I don't know where it came from, because for the longest time, all the way up to the run up to the fight, until the day before the fight, I always felt like Dustin Poirier was going to win. I felt like he fought better opposition and he got a better resume. He's got bigger wins against bigger opponents and bigger wins against better opponents. But for some reason, the day before the fight, or the couple of hours before the fight, I felt like Charles Oliveira was going to win, and my intuition was correct. Charles Oliveira did win, and not only did he win, he won in a very emphatic fashion. It was very impressive the way he won as well. He's knocked out his opponent to win the title, and now he's made the first defense of the title via submission. I mean, this is impressive stuff, and I think at this point in time, you have to say he's the best. He's definitely the best lightweight in the world, just based on his resume alone and the fighters that he's beat. Dustin Poirier was seen as the dude that was meant to be have a claim to the throne, but now that he's knocked him out, I mean, there's no doubt about it. I think Charles Oliveira's levels above him now. Obviously, the next fight is against Justin Gaethje, and that's another matter entirely. And to be fair, them two have been going back and forth at it. Justin Gaethje seems to have this level of disgust towards Charles Oliveira because of the fact that he quit. But if he's the mandatory for his belt, they can settle it in the octagon and actually fight and see who's the best. But yeah, I think it's time for us to see who is the best. I mean, it's crazy if you think about it. There's still quite a few good fights to be made in that division. I mean, Charles Oliveira versus Islam Makhachev, that's a hell of a fight. Charles Oliveira versus Beneil Dariush, that's a hell of a fight. Charles Oliveira versus obviously Justin Gaethje, that's a hell of a fight. A rematch with Michael Chandler, that's a hell of a fight. A rematch with Dustin Poirier, that's a hell of a fight. I mean, who knows, maybe Khabib will come out of retirement and say, you know what, let's fight this guy again. That's a crazy fight. I mean, there's so many good fights that could potentially happen, and in a weird way I'm kind of happy that Khabib retired, because now that he did retire, you got all these other fights that are coming out of the woodwork, and I don't know if he's ever going to come back, but I feel like he could potentially, Charles Oliveira could give this version of Charles Oliveira could give Khabib a good fight. I'm not going to say you'll beat him, but I think he'll give him a hell of a fight. So yeah, that's just my opinion on this particular fight. What's your opinion? One thing I've noticed about Dustin Poirier, he does have a hell of a resume. He's beaten great opponents, but whenever it comes to title fights, for some reason he just can't seem to perform. And I think it could be a mental thing, because he's beaten very good fighters. And to be fair, in this fight, I think the first round he did win in the stand-up department when it came to be fighting, when he came to fighting Charles Oliveira. But then as soon as he actually got himself out of it, like he made that adjustment, Dustin Poirier just could not catch up. I mean, I always had a feeling that might happen, because Charles Oliveira's got underrated striking, but his submission game is just on another level. So yeah, that's just my opinion on this particular fight. What's your opinion? Where do you think Charles Oliveira goes next? And do you rightly see him as the king of the lightweight division, or do you think there's still opponents for him that he must beat for him to prove himself? It all remains to be seen, but I'm very much looking forward to the Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje fight. I think that fight is going to be hella fun to see. Obviously both of them got, well, I don't think there's a real beef, but Justin Gaethje's been saying a lot of negative stuff about Charles Oliveira, and he was sitting in the crowd that day, so yeah, it'll be fun to see what happens next. But yeah, that's just my opinion on this fight. Tell me your opinion below, and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.